Hello everybody and welcome once again to the Interwoven podcast from The Weave. I'm Adam Roxby, the Director of Communications, and I'm really excited to be able to share this episode with you today. As we've got our Director of Business Development, James Cracknell, and our Director of Community Wellbeing, Sandrine Singleton-Perrin, talking to Lynn, Gail and Maxine, who are behind the Good Health at Work Award and Resource Hub. It's such a great initiative, and I'm sure you're going to get a lot of insight and inspiration out of this conversation. Now, just to give you a bit of fair warning, some of the topics that are covered here today do touch on some sensitive issues around mental health, so if that's something you wish to avoid, then I completely understand. Also, just before we get going, I wanted to take this opportunity to mention a few changes that have happened since our previous episode. We've completely redesigned our website over at wearetheweave.co.uk to make things a lot clearer, and we've also been adding lots more content to our exclusive area within the community. As you may know, we have a free community, which is really simple to join, but we also have an area inside there called the 1% Club, where for just £49.99 a month, you get access to exclusive money off offers on premium courses such as my very own podcasting masterclass, access to funding information and premium support and nurturing to help accelerate your business aspirations. Seriously, there's so much in there that I haven't got time to tell you all about it right now, but just check it out and become a member while it's still at this ridiculously low price. So with that said, let's hand it over to James and Sandrine for another insightful conversation.
So welcome everybody to the Interwoven podcast. I'm absolutely delighted today that we've got with us Lynn Smith, Gail Jones and Maxine Simons from the Good Health at Work Award. And this is an award that's been instigated and commissioned by Suffolk County Council, and these people are being brought in to actually help facilitate and deliver that. To create the discussion today, I've asked Sandrine, who's our Director of Community Wellbeing at The Weave, to lead on the conversation and let us try and explore some of those particular interests, facets, and ultimately what the outcome of that Good Health at Work Award is aiming to achieve. So thank you very much indeed, everybody, for joining us today. So I'm going to hand over to Sandrine.
Hello and welcome. Really happy to have you three on the programme. Do you want to tell us what the award is about, who it is for, and what it's aiming to do?
Thank you, Sandrine, for that.
Lynn Smith.
Basically, what we're doing is we're inviting SMEs in Suffolk to transform their businesses with the Good Health at Work programme or reward, and it's to help elevate workplaces to new heights. So it recently launched only a couple of weeks ago, and what we've done is we've designed this initiative to promote and sustain the health and well-being of employees in the workplace. Basically, the framework is tailored to meet the needs of businesses across various sectors, and our goal is to help create a healthier and more engaged and productive workforce by providing all of those tools, those resources, and of course support, which is necessary to really foster a culture of well-being within organisations. A little bit, my role is predominantly health and social care background, but I came to work with Get Set UK in June on this project, which I'm really excited to be involved in. I'm also very holistic. I like to do all these holistic therapies, Reiki and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that I can bring some of those things in to what I'm doing and incorporate it within this award that we're doing.
I started alongside with Lynn.
Gail Jones.
And it's a fantastic project just to sort of improve well-being in the workplace, but also it's centred around micro-employers as well, to look after their own mental health and well-being. A lot of people think it is just for employers, certainly the people that we've been speaking to, and it's important to make that quite clear to people that they must look after their own mental health well-being to be able to look after their business, to avoid burnout, to avoid things being too much. And I think that's a really powerful point to it as well.
I mean, how did the idea emerge? Where did it come from? How did it sort of come about?
So the Suffolk County Council identified in Suffolk that there's gaps in employer well-being, and certainly within small and medium businesses, and of course, obviously micro businesses as well. And I think what the initiative is to increase and improve the well-being of those in Suffolk, and also to raise awareness of how people can look after themselves within their businesses, and also so that we can provide the resources for them. And Maxine will be speaking about this in a little while. The Resource Hub is absolutely amazing resources for employers, but also for the employees.
From going out and doing a lot of networking, it's been apparent, and I've picked up that especially the Suffolk area has the vast majority of small businesses in this area. And of course, that was another initiative, really, why Suffolk County Council wanted to bring something like this together. And of course, we were really fortunate to win the bid for that.
I know about the 6 standards. Do you want to run us through what the award is about and what those standards are?
So we actually designed the 6 standards. For example, one of them is culture, communication and engagement, which is one of the mandatory units. So every business has to do that. Or it could be physical health and mental well-being. So when we're discussing what individual companies have already in place, we will also identify what they would want to put in place and work towards that. So they will select units when we sit and discuss with them. And there are 3 tiers, which is based on the bronze, silver or gold award. Of course, also it is based on the size of the company, because we have micro, small and medium companies. So for example, if it's a medium-sized business with, and we class that as between 10 to 49 employees, and they wanted to go for the bronze award, they would need to complete 3 of the standards, then select from 4 of the sub-standards 2 goals relevant to what they wish to put in place or work towards. In some cases, they might already have some of these things in place, which is great, but we want to stretch and challenge them a little bit more to put other processes in place.
So yeah, it's bespoke to each company who comes to you, and just to say also that there's a kind of support, ongoing support from when they decide to apply for the award. Do you want to tell us about that, the support that you provide, you and Gail?
Yeah, so we navigate the programme. So we assist all the way. We would go from the initial sort of meeting with them through networking events and things like that. But also to mention Kate. Kate is our ambassador who will deal with the sort of background side of it. So setting up meetings and networking events for people. And I think also that's very good for people that are micro businesses, because it broadens the aspect of being able to connect with others. And again, this is something that the award is, very proud of, connecting other people. And it isn't just about our programme talking to other people, it's about connecting all those people together as well that own their own businesses, and to create that sort of network. So what Kate will do is create these networks together, and then sort of take them through the award if they have any problems with certain things, and sort of giving them ideas on how they can improve and also work towards these standards. Now, there isn't an actual time frame for these standards, but it's something that the employer, as Lynn mentioned, can work towards. They identify the areas they want to improve themselves, and it's a development between us as navigators to support the employer or the employees, and then work towards sort of gaining those improvements.
It's a young project. It's just been in place for what you said, a month or so. So have you started working with some companies, and have you got any got any findings you'd like to share with us?
We have, Sandrine. So from launch 2 weeks ago, which isn't very long ago, there's about 10 people. Some of those have been signed up. A couple of them wanted to wait till after Christmas because, as you know, it's a bit of a funny time of year. But we also, on a daily basis, are having a lot of footfall on the website. From there, we've been getting some of the registrations coming through. Another thing that we just kind of touched on there was when we had the actual launch, it was really nice to see some of the SMEs came down, they were invited to come down, and they very kindly, took time out to do that. But it was nice to see that they were all talking and communicating with one another. And I know that one of my companies that I signed up, he wanted to do some volunteering. And I'd recently gone out to speak to a company in Ipswich who was a charity. And I said, right, I know who I can put you in touch with. So it was nice that I could introduce him to them. And of course, they're going to do some volunteering now. So it's a really nice way to get people to all work together. For the new year, we're hoping to set up some of our own events as well. It's a little bit in the early days, really, because we haven't got any specific case studies, but the response has been great. The team have been working hard to network, etc. We've already got some signed up. A couple of the ones that I've had from a company, and they actually said, we have nothing in place to support each other in a male work environment. It would be great to put in place some processes around mental health and well-being moving forwards. And we are very interested to go for the Bronze Award. I can honestly say that we've signed them up. We've identified what we're going to be doing with him. And interestingly, they didn't have any policies in place. So we're working together on that. And then one other, and they said, fabulous, thank you for all the information. I look very forward to hearing more about the programme and learning about how we can improve the mental health of our team, and we've got to sign them up. It just goes to show that there are companies out there that really do need support and help.
Since you're here and that, this is going to be, listened to by our, a wider community, our community, what would you say are the benefits to sign up for the award? So say you're talking to small and medium companies in the region, what are the incentives?
I think the majority of people, that is one of their first questions. And I would say, first and foremost, it's for the community and for the well-being of the company. So in short, it would be recognising their well-being initiatives themselves, but also it would be good as a marketing kind of situation that, they would be able to promote. So other people would recognise that business is one that would look after others. So if they then got the award, for example, on their emails, they would have a bronze, silver or gold mark at the bottom of their email, like a little logo.
Yeah, little icon, yeah.
Yeah, and from that they will see, they look after themselves and each other. So I'd look at it sort of initially for two reasons. One for great sort of improvement within themselves, so they look after themselves, but also within their company. So they would be a company that would be interested in developing their business, but also looking after people. And I think there's a lot to be said, and certainly from my perspective, when I look for a job, how do they look after their employees? How do they look after themselves? What initiatives do they have in their company? And also what benefits? And if you think about it from, say, for a company that's looking to be for a new position, that would be one of the main things, that I would look for. If you look after yourselves, you can look after others. And I think from the perspective of others looking in, it's just a great promotional tool. Internally, it would be networking. I'd say one of the benefits, networking, getting to know other businesses. I've got to know so many different businesses that I didn't even know existed. And that's just from purely doing this job. And one of our main aims is, like Lynn said, to connect people together and create this kind of community for Suffolk.
People have also said to me, what is the monetary value of this project? Whilst I understand that businesses need to make money, this award isn't about that. It's about focusing on people that matter. At the end of the day, we all work 24/7 throughout our lives, and people want to be happy in what they're doing. I'm really fortunate. I'm doing what I really love. I'm really happy, but some people aren't. So really, in the long run, businesses that really invest in their staff and they value staff Well, of course, that's going to be reward enough, surely. Staff retention, it equals less time and money spent advertising and onboarding. So what's not to like?
You know, there is plenty of research out there that confirms that the happier and more comfortable people are in their employment, the more productive they are.
I think also from a perspective on the outside, if you like, sort of setting myself outside of my position, that currently happy employees tell other people about the business that they're working. So again, sort of a marketing point of view, word of mouth spreads really quickly, and it spreads quicker than it does any reviews online. If you've got a happy employee, that employee is going to tell other people how great the company is that they're working for. And from that aspect alone, like Lynn and also Maxine said, it doesn't only help with absenteeism, but it also makes the workforce closer as well.
So what is it you provide within that programme that is of benefit to employers and employees?
We have the website, obviously, which has several pages. So the first page links to so you can link to the award. So if you want to register, you can register for the award through that page. And then we have another page that introduces the navigators and tells you all about their background. So they are a little bit familiar. Although I think probably most businesses in Suffolk know who the navigators are now, because there's been so much networking going on, which has been brilliant. And then we have the resource hub, which is basically, it's exactly what it says it is. It's a hub full of resources broken down by category and subcategory. They don't match the award standards, and that was intentional because the resource hub is not specifically for the award. So it can be used throughout the award. There's lots of good information on there, but you don't have to have signed up for the award to be able to use the resource hub. There's no gated content. There's nothing there that unless you do the award, you can't access. And that's because we want Suffolk businesses, even if they don't participate in the award, to adopt some sort of behaviour change that will benefit them. So the categories that exist on the Resource Hub are staff and financial wellbeing, workplace inclusion, workplace culture and policies, physical health and mental health, and lifestyle behaviours. So they're the main categories, and what they are is like a comprehensive set of resources. So in each category, there's a whole list of subcategories. So for instance, in workplace culture and policies, you have things like facilities, sustainability, and the resources largely have come from the Chartered Institute for Professional Development, or ACAS. So they've all been through due diligence to ensure that they're actually usable from well-respected sources. And there's things on there like policy templates. So as Lynn said earlier, there was the company that she worked with had no policies. So to get an understanding of how to build a policy, there's policy statements, there's policy templates, and it's something that the businesses can work with the navigators.
But what is your personal vision? What would you like to happen with this programme that you're all involved in?
For me to be able to make a difference and also bring to the fore mental health. We all have mental health. Not everybody think they do, but we all have mental health. And I think it's only when it happens to you that you realise. So it's just about having that understanding really and that support where you can go. That's what I would like, to give people that support to understand a little bit more. Especially males really struggle about talking about their mental health. I see it time and time again.
What about you, Gail?
I've got a bit of a personal kind of perspective on this. So I joined the company, as I mentioned, in June, and it was shortly after, and sadly, this is a bit of a trigger warning, but my brother took his own life. And from that, I took 4 months off work dealing with all sorts of stress, and I didn't know what I was doing. I wanted to join a company that looked after their employees and looked after, and understood mental health struggles and things like that. And when I saw that it would be creating a program to do just that, I found my job. So what my brother did find when he was alive is that he didn't get the support from his employer. They were a very, very big organisation, and they didn't do enough to support or understand mental health particularly men's mental health, like Lynn just said. So for me, it was a very personal passion project, and it's something that I really wanted to, look into developing. It's so important to recognise it in yourselves, but also in others as well. And I find, and certainly through research, is you find that it's not always the quietest person in the room, it's the loudest and the happiest person that portrays in the room that does have mental health issues.
I've worked on programs similar to this before. Previously, it was not employment based, it was health and wellbeing.
Maxine.
My objective really is to create something that has sustainable, long-lasting behaviour change, which I have previously done. Although, like, the contract that I worked on then has ended, there are initiatives that took place then that are still going 7 years later. What I want to see is, if possible, is small and medium businesses in Suffolk sort of leading the way, I guess. With this programme, I want them to be in a position where they can set an example to other businesses in the country and say, this is what's possible when you look after your staff. This is what's possible when you consider all of these things. We've had lots and lots of support, so it hasn't been a journey that's cost us a lot of money. It hasn't been a journey that's taken us a lot of time away from our actual business. But this is what's possible, and this is the result. This is what we've gained from it. We've gained happier, better workers. We have a much closer community. We have a much closer working business together. We support each other. And that's what I'd really like to see, some real long-term behaviour change.
I think the challenge
like
around that is that, it's mainly around time constraints, really, that we come up against. And of course, it's about people who are working on their own, who don't think it would benefit them. But, it is, admittedly, it's a hard one to crack. But I'd say that, being on your own is a lot harder to deal with. Time management. And I think, like James was saying earlier, it can be a problem of burnout, and we don't always recognize those signs. So if you're working to establish a business, whether on your own or not, we still have to put these processes in place. And I don't always think people think about that. They don't think about themselves. So it's now time to think about you and be a little bit kinder. We all have time. That's another thing. They say, oh, we don't have to, I'm not going to have time. We all have time, a little bit of time. It's not going to be so demanding, but when we can consult with people, looking at these standards, then we can put those processes in place. We can help them right from the beginning, and it can be a game changer.
Thanks, Lynn, for pointing out that this is the difficulty in getting people to understand that their well-being, holistic well-being matters, and that it will guarantee the lasting success of their business. But it sounds like the small and medium businesses are in very good hands with you. It's been really lovely to talk to you. I'm going to ask you one last personal question, very quick, before we wrap up, and you'll be able to tell us where people can find more about the award. What is your personal go-to well-being method, therapy, whatever? What is it you do to keep happy? Maxine, shall we start with you?
I have a gratitude journal, and I do that every day, and I commit to that. And I really, really like it because it's an app, and it asks me different questions every day. What are you grateful for in nature? What's your favorite song? What's your favorite movie? But it's always something really positive. So no matter how bad my day is, it sort of lifts me a little. It does have affirmations as well. So if I need to affirm myself or affirm other people, so it has affirmations that I can send to friends or people that I care about. I can just send them like a little, I was thinking of you, which I really love. And I've been using that not very long, actually, just for probably about 2 months. And it's made a huge difference. I really feel it. I always used to do a thing where I counted my blessings, thinking about how lucky I was. But this is just like a slightly next level, and it's working really well. I really love it.
Gail, what's your secret method?
My secret method, I'm a crafter, so I like art, design, and all these things. And I am actually a bit of an indoor girl at the moment, which I hope to change, which is what I would like to do for the future. But certainly at the moment, I make a lot of things. I'm very into clay modeling. So I would say what makes me happy is that from a crafting point of view. However, people make me happy, connecting with others, sharing stories. But there's always something in common, always.
Lynn?
A little bit similar to Gail, really. I'm quite creative, and being creative, whether it's in the garden, whether it's that's really good. But I think one of the biggest things is about caring about people. I'm very observant, and I can see when somebody's upset. So if I can just help somebody, I keep my feet firmly on the ground. And I think one of you said earlier is about positivity. I was never a positive person, but I am now, because people don't want to know about the negative. So I am always upbeat. I try to be as positive and think about how you can get around things. If people say, "Oh, it can't be done," yes, it can. There's always a way.
I should ask James what he does.
For me, it's a mixture of reading and walking and taking the dogs out, engaging with nature as much as I possibly can, being outdoors as much as I possibly can, which I find sort of enjoyable beyond belief. But I guess the other side of it is working with young people. And I work with a lot of students at the university. I work with mentoring a lot of people in that environment. And I find that incredibly uplifting, because there is working with people. It doesn't really matter to me whether it's people with like students, but I find with students, they come with so little baggage and they just want to open the doors and the opportunities. And I love kind of shining a light as much as I possibly can in those directions. So that's me. I just want to say thank you very much for participating in this podcast. I loved it. Love listening to the conversation. I thought it was absolutely amazing. Before we go on to where people can connect with you and find you and do all of that, I just wanted to ask a couple of questions. I know it's Suffolk based. I know the navigation work is Suffolk based and all the rest of it, but I presume if people find the resources and they're outside of the region, that they still can engage with it in some shape or form.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's available for anybody, the resource hub.
Yeah, thank you three. It's been really a delight to talk to you. And although I've kind of been following you from a distance, I've learnt a lot today. So yeah, thanks. I think it's a brilliant program, and I wish you all the best. Tell us where people can find you, or find out more about the actual award and how they can apply.
The website is goodhealthatwork.co.uk. If you're interested in the award, there is a banner across the top, and it's goodhealthatwork.co.uk/award.
As I said at the beginning of the episode, a great conversation, and I'm sure you'll be heading over to that website to start your journey on improving not only your own mental health and well-being, but also that of your staff and by extension, the wider community. As was mentioned in that conversation, it's so great for us to be able to talk to another group of people who have such a shared belief in improving the well-being of the community. So I'm really glad that we had this opportunity to sit down and have that conversation. And there's lots more information about what they're doing and the initiatives they're working on in our community over at wearetheweave.co.uk. And as I said at the beginning, if you're interested and have become inspired by what the team at the Good Health at Work are doing, then there's plenty more resources for you over in the community there. Don't forget to visit the website wearetheweave.co.uk, and I look forward to speaking to you as always in the next episode. Bye for now.